couple of hours into Keeper, something incredible happens, and then it continues to evolve again and again from there. These are such big, magical moments that reviewing it without delving deeper feels wrong. But just as was the case for Dogubomb's Blue Prince, which released earlier in the year, it's best to keep this review spoiler-free, so that you might get to enjoy Keeper's remarkable sense of goggle-eyed wonder unsullied. Let it be known, though, that Psychonauts developer DoubleFine's latest adventure is a mesmerising trek through a mysterious world, with perhaps a touch of that game company's seminal Journey in its DNA. Keeper begins, more or less, on a rock. In the background, rugged spires arc menacingly out of churning waters, rising above a bleak coastline into a grey-green sky. Here, in these grim surroundings, an unlikely hero is born, a dilapidated lighthouse made suddenly sentient, teetering on spider-like legs of rope and stone. At first, its heaving, shifting weight demands careful balance to stay aloft. But slowly, with a little encouragement from Twig, a strange seabird newly nestled upon its lantern, its tentative steps find a more confident rhythm. And so begins a wordless journey, buoyed on by the merest wisp of a narrative, through some wondrous sights, all leading towards the island's mysterious, omnipresent peak. You begin your tottering trek stumbling across a desolate, if distantly recognisable landscape of crumbling highways and long-abandoned homes. The colour palette may be bleak, but the carelessly shifting camera finds beauty everywhere, pulling back to reveal waves, hammering the gloomy shoreline, or shifting upward to frame the shambling lighthouse in perfect silhouette as a wan sun spears the thick green clouds. But suddenly the pathway pinches, the camera swings, and the air of faint familiarity turns alien as a heaving mountainous mass perched upon skittering, scrambling legs comes looming into view. Keeper might well be one of the most beautiful games yet, and lovers of taking screenshots will be in heaven here. From that first big reveal to its final fade to black, Double Fine's world is one of such effervescent wonder that there will rarely be a single moment across its 5 or so hour runtime that it won't cause you to gawp at it in quietly stunned awe. Dusty plains and stampeding herds soon make way for perilous red rock cliff tops with dazzling sea views. Crowded valleys of fallen stone and towering roots become teetering plateaus strewn with behemoth bones. Flower-specked meadows become twilight caverns, become vibrant coral fields, become verdant fungal forests, and so on it goes, each change perfectly matched by a wonderfully reactive soundtrack that shifts restlessly from jaunty percussion to swooning synths to cacophonous bells. Every inch of Keeper is an explosion of iridescent colour, strikingly rendered in thick brushstroke swirls and all framed for maximum impact by that ever-roving camera. Even its corridors are so meticulously textured and illuminated that they could move an aesthete to tears. And it all feels so alive. Sentient rocks skitter on stick-like legs around burbling bioluminescent pools, fuzzy wormbirds scamper through swaying cerulean grass and snuggle up in their strange stone homes, delicate creatures with dangling tendrils drift dreamily on the breeze, and that's before we get to the really big things. It's mesmerising, a wonderfully absurd ecosystem brought to life by an impeccable union of art, animation, and sound. If anything puts a dampener on that unbridled wonder early on though, it's the worry that DoubleFine's broader design choices mightn't have been a match for its artistic vision. Keeper's opening few hours are perhaps overly restrictive, funneling players along a narrow path that leaves little room for deviation or experimentation. You'll plod gamely forward as the camera twirls to find another perfectly framed view, occasionally impeded by an obstacle in the road. In these moments, your chief means of interaction is your lighthouse beam, directed using the controller's right analog stick. It's a satisfying thing to play around with, causing nature to come writhingly alive as its light dances across the world. Focus it, however, and it gains more powerful utility, restoring ancient contraptions or helpfully dislodging masonry by causing organic masses to explode. And when a more hands-on approach is required, you can send Twig out to manipulate cranks or shift movable rods before summoning them home. It's a perfectly solid foundation for some creative puzzle design, but one that's perhaps explored with an overabundance of caution early on. Solutions aren't just simple, they're heavily signposted, and you're never far from another on-screen prompt telling you exactly what to do, although these can, thankfully, be turned off in the menu. DoubleFine's decision to prioritise propulsive approachability over complexity probably won't be to everyone's taste, but it means wide-eyed wonder never gives way to frustration, which ultimately feels like the right way to go. And gradually, Keeper does evolve. First, that fixed path gently opens out, then puzzles slowly begin to permit more agency. And then, among cloud-kissed peaks and candy floss spores, players gain a different kind of freedom. Swaddled in pink fluff and granted the power of lazy levitation, Keeper suddenly, if briefly, becomes a platform game. And it's here, drifting past magnificent waterfalls and keening sky whales, that you'll really begin to appreciate just how good it feels. Keeper is, perhaps, a game as much about the joy of movement as anything. First, the pleasing physicality of those uncertain early stumbles making way for more sure-footed strides becoming careening dashes, then billowing jumps and gentle glides. Then, just as it starts to feel like Keeper might have run its course, a really radical change occurs, powered by a different kind of propulsion and underscored in a sequence of such gleefully choreographed kinetic awe that it will leave you genuinely delighted. True, your fundamental interactions remain largely the same throughout, but they're applied to challenges much broader in scale. And just when you think you've got the measure of Keeper this time, it shifts again and again, each reinvention introducing a different kind of movement. And by the time the world is rushing by in a blaze of pure psychedelic fury to a backdrop of blistering electro beats, well, you'll be well and truly sold. Keeper isn't exactly a long game though, and if you have a free day, you can finish it off all in one single spellbound sitting, where you'll be thoroughly captivated and utterly delighted by the wondrous artistry of it all. This isn't a game for everyone though, and there's a temptation to be more critical about its slightly wonky early pacing, its perhaps excessively frictionless progression, and its fairly unambitious puzzle design, which some might bounce off. For those that get absorbed by its magic, however, Keeper is joyously realised, gently moving, but never mawkishly so, and it sees DoubleFine, hardly a studio known to flub its big creative swings, on exceptional form. In summary then, Keeper is a surprising, shape-shifting adventure of captivating wonder and beauty. And for those of you who love magical, surreal, and visually stunning stories, it is a must-buy. Thank you for watching this video review of Keeper. If you found it useful, please do give it a like and subscribe to Eurogamer for almost daily videos about video games, because this here channel is also a keeper. Goodbye.